Are you start? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome new show. We got some all kind of cool stuff going this week. We got the brand new market data in right now. That's very, very interesting. We got significant decline year over year in terms of sales. We'll take a look at what prices are doing. But some good news is we'll talk about overall that it's some good data out that just says buyer traffic stronger than normal years. And it doesn't look too bad, actually. If we look at national level, we'll kind of dig into that. We've had some big news lately on interest rates. We'll kind of look at see what's happening overall with that. And also another thing that's kind of been come out nationally said why you may still want to sell your home after all. Some good data, good numbers in there to talk about as well. Also, as usual, some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it, even in a market that's not doing very well. One of our great success stories today, someone had their property listed with 2 different agents for over 12 months. They couldn't get it sold, didn't get it sold. We came in, increased the price, got it sold in less than a week. So another example we'll talk about there. And we just do the same thing we do every week for the past 14 plus years on this show, and I have one main goal. That goal is just help keep you updated on anything and everything real estate related here on the Grand Strand, just to help you make better decisions long term with, for most people, their largest assets, which is real estate, right? So that's the main goal. If you ever want to come back and watch the show or listen to it again, you can always go to YouTube, just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can go follow us on Facebook under Sloan Realty Group. You can follow me personally at Blake Sloan. And so we just have the same goal every week. Lots of great stuff. We'll squeeze a few things in here. And the main goal, as usual, is keep you updated to make better decisions with all your real estate stuff.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you just tuned in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan is involved with real estate.
I'll edit that little pause out there.
Okay. Thank you.
You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also on some show. You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Kennedy, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary Lavaz. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now that's one thing, but the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. There are trademark systems. Give you all the details. They're more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and like many years ago, maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago, made a decision that I'm just going to talk about this at least once a show, every show, just because it's by far the biggest mistake I see anyone make in buyers or sellers. It has to do with real estate, and it's just this like forever lasting issue that you run into in real estate. And they make this mistake over and over and over. And like you said before, it doesn't matter how affluent they are, how many properties they sold, they still make this mistake. And I literally see it every single week. People do this and they cost them $20, $30, $40, $50,000 of their hard-earned equity. And the mistake they make is thinking that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be any further than the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? If you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, you don't want the part-time attorney who your friend recommended, or who your friend who's a part-time attorney who's only tried a few cases, right? You want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law so that they can give you a competitive advantage in the courtroom to get you the outcome that you want. But for some reason, when it comes to people's largest assets, they don't think like that. They think all agents are all the same. They're just going to treat the same, and they don't realize how complex and how many nuances there are in terms of getting a home property sold. And so here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that thing is the agent that you choose, period. That's it, right? Because what they don't realize is there's all these things that have to be executed on from A to Z to position your property the right way, to get it sold for the most amount of money and get to the closing table successfully and get that max amount of money in your pocket. And so what we won't realize is it comes down to people, right? It's a people-based business, it's a service-based business, just like anything we talked about earlier. Doctor, lawyer, for example, I've used a lot lately is if it's the same as a restaurant, right? Sometimes you go to a restaurant, you have an amazing experience. Sometimes you go to the same exact restaurant, have a terrible experience. The difference there is the people and how the people actually execute from A to Z. I've been to the same restaurant, had great food, been to the same restaurant, had bad food. The difference was the people and how they executed on the process. And so what most people don't realize is you're gambling by just using some random agent, using some agent who your friend recommended, using an agent who your friend who's part-time. And this happens over and over and over again. What they don't realize is when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, it costs you your hard-earned equity, right? Or the property doesn't get sold, like we talked about. Most of the time what happens, they get the property sold, they drop the price, they lose in negotiation, they lose in the home inspection negotiation. So they get to the closing table, they don't realize they could have put $40,000-$50,000 more in their pocket if they would have had someone who's a true expert who managed those variables proactively. And what I realized getting in business is pretty much most agents all operate the same. The fact is, in our marketplace, the average agent sells 4 homes per year. That's 1 home per quarter, which is terrible. And any agent that's in the business 2 years or less right now, the average median income on a national level is $9,000. There's not a whole lot of money for them to eat with, to pay rent with, much less spend on your behalf to get you marketing exposure that you need. And so the reality is that's why you see so many properties fail to sell. But the bigger problem is it's simply impossible for one single agent to manage all the variables for one listing, much less 5, 10, or 15 listings, because you don't realize those 118 different variables, those are all the things from all the way down to the agent answers the phone when a buyer calls a for sale sign, right? What's the quality of the photos? What's the order of the photos? What's the web marketing look like? What type of marketing online is there? What's their online spend to bring in buyers? Is all these things matter all the way down to pricing strategy, negotiation strategy, how they handle the home inspection. All these things make or break the home sale. What's happening is every time one of those variables is mismanaged, it chops away, right? A piece of your hard-earned equity gets taken off, and you end very, very skinny at the end because so much has been chopped off in that scenario. And so what I noticed in the business is everyone operated the same. They did 3 Ps. They promised the person, aka the seller, anything and everything to get the listing because they were desperate. They wanted a listing. Second thing they do is they put it to MLS. And then 3, they sit back and pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing because they're just trying to survive in the business. And that's how the entire business has worked for years and years. I grew up in it. My entire family sold real estate, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma. And every day after school, I'd be in the real estate office just watching and analyzing. And so after a while, once I got in the business in 2005, I said, look, there's got to be a better way to do this. How do we look and see what people do outside of real estate in actual businesses that have proven processes and systems and bring that same type of system into real estate? And that's what we did. We created that thing Dave was talking about called the guaranteed sold system. It's the only proven system to sell homes twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? It saves you money. You get the property you want. Anything's handled incorrectly, that agent drops the ball at any point, it keeps you from getting the home, or you overpay, or you tend to get that closing table getting more money in your pocket than you should have. And so we developed a system there for buyers that's called the unfair advantage home buying system. Gets priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as negotiation of home inspection to get you that closing table successfully. But here's the deal. Both of those are designed to do one thing. And the thing is give you, the client, a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And I share that every week because I see over and over so many people call us who've listened to the show and they make the mistake of going with a friend or their wife's friend. I get that a lot lately. Oh, my wife's friend got in real estate. She went with her. By the way, her house isn't selling. Or we sold it with them. We look it up and they sold for $25,000 less than they could have sold it for because it didn't get the right exposure it needs, especially in this current marketplace. And so it just comes down to how much demand can they create for your property, right? And I give this example all the time. I haven't used this one in a while, but it comes down to like the classic Corvette, right? If I have an amazing classic Corvette, I can take that classic Corvette and I can sell it today. I can put it in the Walmart parking lot here on 501, put a sign on it that says for sale. Guess what? I'll sell it today. But the question is, does that mean I sold that classic Corvette for the most amount of money possible? We all know the answer to that is no, right? It's just not necessarily the case, because if you had more people who were interested in that type of car, that's going to put more eyeballs on it, creates more demand on it, and then people are willing to pay more money. That's why you see it. Barrett Jackson on TV tends to have a lot of qualified buyers who are there to bid up properties bid up cars that are very unique and exotic, and that's how they get a lot more money for the same amount of cars. And so we do the same exact thing from a real estate standpoint. Is what if you had that same classic car and you had the Walmart parking lot, but you also had it in every classic Corvette enthusiast website, every classic Corvette enthusiast magazine, and now you had national, international exposure for the same car? Is the question is, are you going to get more money for it? Absolutely. And it's the same exact thing that we do with your home sale by spending tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month, every single month, generating buyers from across the globe that we bring in and funnel in to our clients to help increase demand for their property and in turn sell them faster and for more money. And so if you want to know more that works, reach out to us. I always say at least owe it to yourself to investigate it. And anybody we sit down and show it to, it absolutely blows their mind. So if you want to know more about that, always reach out to us, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second.
Here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. I know certain programs make it a lot easier for the seller. Which ones do you offer? Hey, Sean, in addition to our traditional program that sells your home for top dollar, we have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and guarantee offer program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy homes in Grand Strand right now. And what kind of return can you expect from them? Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that nets sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods. All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Farmers. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan. You offer several options of yourselves, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. Sellers at time crunches. You guys are going to sell us on a certain date. They have their homes even ready.
That's great. And the seller has a good one.
We are marketing plan to sell to the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get the home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. All kind of good stuff here coming. We got the first of the month, one of my favorite times on this show, because it helps us see what's going on, what's happening, and now we can compare what's happening in the real estate market, what's happening with your largest assets, what's happening with prices and everything else. And so we'll kind of dig in and look at that. So good news on prices. They're up year versus year for average and median, which is great. And that just comes down to inventory being lower. We'll get that in a second. And demand's been pretty decent. I'll say that. We talked about that last month. We have two types of numbers we like to share on this show to keep you in the know. The first one I always call the windshield numbers. That's what's happening in front of us. Those are what's new buyers are going under contract every single 7-day period. And so my office, we track this every morning in our morning huddle. It allows us to keep a pulse real time on what's happening so that we can advise our clients to be a little more aggressive, a little less aggressive based on what's happening. And I can watch it fluctuate, have a spreadsheet. We track it every single day. We compare really a couple main things. How many properties went under contract the last 7 days, what the volume of those properties was, how many properties are available for sale, aka active inventory, and we track it with interest rate. You can always see it correlate back and forth based on interest rate, what's happening, and also a little bit of seasonality out there. And so we're coming to that separate kind of fall market. We've seen a lot of high-end properties right now move because I think it's just a different clientele that comes in town. They tend to be, like to stay within the crowds a little bit more. They tend to be a little bit older. At least what we noticed, they're coming in town. So you're just seeing that kind of be what's happening. You're seeing volume go up typically like it always does. And so if you look at the last 7 days right now, the amount of properties went under contract, 556 properties under contract for $214,128,293. So 214 million under contract in the last 7 days. Awesome. Anytime we're over 200 million for a previous 7-day period, it means the market is still doing very, very, very well, at least from the numbers we've been tracking for a long time, which is good. And a lot of high-end stuff moving. So if you compare to last week's show, there was 561 properties for 205 million. This week, 556 properties for 214 million, which is not bad, right? You're only talking 5 less properties under contract compared to last week's show, but looking at about $10 million more that went under contract, which means a little bit higher average sale price. And so the good news, 16 properties over $1 million under contract the last 7 days. We put another 1.6 under contract on our team again this week with Austin, which is awesome. Shout out to that. 102 properties over 500,000 under contract, which is awesome. So we broke that again. If you go back just to last week's show, there's only 13 properties over $1 million and only 82 or 500,000 versus this week, 16 properties over 1 million and 102 or 500,000. We're just seeing a lot of high-end stuff. We've been moving a lot of high-end stuff lately. Both investments. A lot of people are buying, some beach houses for, they want to use it, second home, and also rent it out. Also relocation. We're seeing a lot of that as well, all through the north end Myrtle Beach, Garden City, and also in Pawleys Island. We've done A bunch of big deals there lately, which is pretty good. If you look at the overall inventory, it's 881 active, which is ironically the same amount of properties that were active on last week's show. 2 weeks ago, there was 905 properties active, but the volume was only 192 million. So great uptick right there. What that means is we'll probably see a little bit more volume come in and close deals. Why does that matter? Because the properties going under contract now typically close from 30 to 60 days after they go under contract. And so the data that most people use is a little bit aged, right? It usually means if it's in the closed deals, like the masses across the country kind of use this data, local MLS uses this data, is what we use on this show for years. And what happens is right now we just got the August numbers in. And so in the August numbers, sales are down 26.9%. Now, those are the ones that close. So if they close in August, they went under contract really 30 to 60 days prior to that in that scenario. And so looking at numbers right now, down 26.9% from the same month last year. So if you go back to August of last year, there's 592 properties that were single family resale homes. I like to use that because the data is most accurate. It helps us have the biggest pulse, and that's what most people own who listen to the show. New construction data can get skewed very easily because a lot of those big builders don't list all their inventory, and they also have a lot of stuff they don't put into MLS, and so it kind of skews those numbers a little bit overall. But last August, 592 properties that closed versus this year only 433, down 26.9%. Now, here's the good news. Prices still performing very well year versus year. Prices for median price of 4.9% right now, 367,000 even, which is awesome. So the good news is, if you remember last month's numbers, the prices were down 1.1%. Average sale price right now up 11.7%, which is great news year versus year. Right now, the overall average sale price, $483,811. It's not quite the high we've seen this year. We had the high in April of 496,322, and so it's bounced around a little bit month versus month. But really, one of the worst ones we've seen was July, 448,000. Huge jump from July back up to now. So it went from 448 up to 483 for average sale price, which is great. One of the things that's been protecting that price has been inventory. Inventory is back down again at 2.9 months inventory. It was hanging around 3 months inventory. That's still what we call a super seller's market, meaning there's just not a lot out there, right? We all kind of know that the less people are selling right now. There's so many people that want to sell. They're locked in at 2%, 3%. And so they're hesitant to sell because they're having to buy something at a larger interest rate as prices have continued to climb. And so that's something to watch there overall. But right now, 2.9 months of inventory overall, and seeing that. And also, if you look at the overall pricing, I'll give you the simple math. If you look at it tracks two main things. The average showings per listing in the MLS right now are 5.1. I mean, the average listing gets 5 showings per listing total. The problem is how many showings to get to pending. For median number, it's 9 showings to get to pending. If you look at average number, right, it's 13.3. And so the reason a lot of them aren't selling because you don't get the right traffic. There's not enough buyer eyeballs, not enough buyers demand for that property. And so what's happening is, for most of you, if your property hasn't sold or it didn't sell, the average right now is 5.1 showings per listing. The problem is it takes 13.3 showings to go under contract. And so that's why the agent you choose matters. And you want to have someone who can really make sure you get the right exposure, make sure they guide you the right way. And that's why a lot of people are struggling right now trying to get their property sold, with a lot of novice agents who got it when the market was hot, and they don't understand how to market and how to make sure they differentiate. For me, I was telling my team this. I love this market, right? I started my company in 2008 as everything was going down the bottom. And that was when I was very good at using the internet. My old brokerage that I was at the time at Remax, they made fun of me, called me the internet kid. But what happened was everyone tend to move to internet. That's what everyone starts to search at now. And so we dominate there, which allows us to make sure we're able to get our clients the exposure they need to get the 13.3 showings to get the property under contract. And so great news there in terms of prices. If you look at overall sales for condos, condo sales down significantly to 22.8% from the same time last year. And I do think you'll see both these numbers improve as we get a little bit closer to the 10th of the month. Some agents just slack and they don't put the data in until 2 or 3 weeks later. And you'll see the numbers get a little bit better, my prediction of the next couple of weeks. But condo sales right now down 22.8% from the same time last year. Overall, if you look at last August, 562. Right now, only 435 condo sales overall. Look at prices, up 11.2%. It's been just absolutely crushing it for condo prices. We had another record right now. Last month was a record at 249. Right now, we're at $252,500 for median price, a new record overall for median price. Average sale price, it did drop month versus month, but up 10.6% year over year at $289,351. It was July at $298,597, which is an all-time high. It dropped down the next month, $289,351. Same thing there. You're seeing inventory still very, very low, 3.5 months inventory. And so it's still a super seller's market, meaning the seller has the advantage that we always talk about. If there's anything less than 6 months inventory, the seller has a huge advantage there overall. If you look at showings per listing right now, average one's looking at 3.8 showings per listing. And the problem is the average showings it takes to go under contract is 10.8. And so it's simple math and understanding, hey, look, is my listing getting enough traffic to get offers on it? And the problem is most of them aren't. So if you want to know more how that works and know how the actual exposure piece works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. And also, if you want to get instant valuation of your home, we have a tool. I spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month, literally almost $3,500 a month, just for an extra tool on our website that gets you real-time data. You get an online cash offer on your property. You can get a really deep evaluation with multiple different sources, and it takes 2 seconds on your phone. The widget's at the very top of blakesloan.com. It's super simple, non-threatening. You get the info, and you have a dashboard that is your own dashboard that you belong to, and you can keep coming back and checking it out whenever you want to watch it. It's a free service. We offer it for no obligation at all. It's just something out there. You can always go to blakesloan.com and check that out. Really quick, interest rates. Great news last week for interest rates. Last week's show was 7.37. Right now, 7.07. I'll take it, right? We did have a 20-plus year high last week, and so they're coming back down a little bit, which is great. 15-year fixed rate right now, 6.45%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 7.24%. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 6.98%. 30-year FHA, 6.67%. And a 30-year VA loan, 6.65%. So all those except one below 7% right now, I'll take it, right? I find that's the threshold a lot of people tend to hold off on, but there's still a great opportunity right now for home sellers because the inventory is very, very, very low. And at the same time for buyers out there, there's an opportunity to get in, lock in there. And we also have a partnership with a lender that will allow you to refinance down the road and not have to pay closing costs. So if the rates do go back down, you can have the equity, you're locked in, and go back and refinance that. If you want to know more how it works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Take a quick break, right back in a sec with a hot buyer alert and success stories.
WRNN listeners, Blake Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home. Only true play is here in Myrtle Beach.
I know you have 5.5 to 6 minutes somewhere in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee. Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about being stuck with two more. There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing that Sloan Realty Group. And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:38.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I do this every week. We like to share kind of the difference with my team and kind of what we have. We have all these hot buyers. They're looking to buy here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, and looking for anything up to from $250,000 to $4.4 million right now. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. It's 843-808-SOLD. And one thing we've been doing for a while here is putting my money where my mouth is. A lot of people just ask, hey, what makes you different than anyone else? What makes you different than my friend who just got their license? What makes you different than my wife or husband's friend who's an agent? The difference is we outspend them 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. I was able to develop through different coaches and mentors a business model that's very, very unique. Same thing as guys in Forbes and Wall Street Journal, that gives us a huge competitive advantage because we have a team of 25 plus buyers agents, a team of specialists versus generalists, where when I was at Coldwell Banker or Remax, it was me and 200 plus agents. They didn't care about me. I didn't care about them. So there's no alignment within the business model. Within the business model I created, there's massive alignment with everyone's a specialist in what they do. We have inside sales, outside sales, buyer experts, seller experts, and a huge administrative staff. So that everyone is a specialist. They're much more efficient in what they do. And the reality is we're spending tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month, every month, driving traffic. So we sell a lot of buyer deals, serve them at a very, very high level. And that allows our sellers to have a massive competitive advantage because We have a team that makes 16,000 plus phone calls on their behalf every week, trying to bring buyers to their property. And then best case scenario, we sell a listing, right? We get both sides of it, which is what I'm in business to do, which is to make money, which is why we're able to sell both sides so many times. Worst case scenario, they sell that buyer something else on the MLS. And so right now, active home buyers that we have on our website with a username, password, account, searching 73,523 active home buyers. Again, 73,523 active home buyers. And that's what makes us different, where we have a technology that we can literally, within a couple clicks, take your property the minute it's listed, click the button, reverse engineer through that 73,000 buyers, and it scores them highest to lowest. Who's the buyer who's most likely to buy your property? I click 2 more buttons, it loads them into a phone call dialer, and I can call all of them back to back to back to back while on the phone, and I share with them your property that matches exactly what they're looking for. And so what we do is we assign one of our agents, or multiple agents in many cases, to do that, and they share the property, and that's how we're able to not only put eyeballs on it, but actually match up buyers and sellers. And the cool part about it, it's exactly what they've been looking for. It's like right now, for example, I have Joe from Edison, New York. I got Bob and Sandra from Myrtle Beach. I got Steve from Bangor, PA. I got Dave Bartlett from Colchester, Vermont. I got Natalie from Bountiful, Utah. I got Herrenberg, New York, Forest Hills, New York, Belmore, New York, Toronto, Ontario, Quakertown, PA, Sanford, Maine, Holden, Massachusetts, Danvers, Massachusetts, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Vincetown, New Jersey, Des Plaines, Illinois, all over the place, right? And so the difference is we spend massive amounts of money to bring in buyers. So if you know anybody thinking about selling, have them reach out, call me, 843-808 sold. We have the buyers that get your property sold faster and for more money, just like the same example right here. Stuart Angela bought a house, new home in Charleston last year, but they still had their home here in Little River. They've been trying to sell their property here for over a year and had no luck. They listed a home with 2 different real estate agents and never received one single offer, only empty promises and no buyer traffic. They were paying 2 mortgages for over that year. We're barely getting by doing so as they're burning through their cash. Thankfully, Stuart heard about us, Blake Sloan, on the radio when he was in town. Decided to give them a call. We met with him, immediately identified the problem, which was marketing, the lack of marketing, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough, and started driving massive traffic. In a couple of days, had Stuart Angela a fantastic offer in their home. Now they're able to close, they're able to move on, no longer pay 2 mortgages, and put maximum equity in their pocket. That's a perfect example there. That's why what we do matters, and having 73,000 buyers matters, because we took what 2 agents couldn't do in 12 months, increased the price, and sold it within a week. Michelle and Terry also had a beautiful home in Forest Brook. They recently made a decision. This is a cool story. They wanted to move and retire and sell their home. They can travel the U.S. in their RV. Their concerns were they wanted to get their home sold before it got cold in the area, and they had their adult children living in the home that needed somewhere to go as well. Michelle started looking at different options. She met with multiple investors who were only offering pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, she heard about us. We came and met with Michelle and Terry. We showed them exactly what we can do to get their property sold quickly and for the most amount of money through our basically maximum value program. And designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtuality walkthrough, drove massive traffic within a few days, had multiple offers in the home. They decided to go, check this out, a full price offer, exactly what they wanted, and the buyer let their adult children remain in the home for an entire year after closing. And so we negotiated on their behalf, which is awesome. Now Michelle and Terry can travel the country in the RV, have maximum money in their pocket, and we negotiated for the ability to have their adult children stay in their property for an entire year, 12 plus months. And that's just an example we see over and over and over again. And so if you want to know how that works and have someone who can negotiate on your behalf very, very strong, that's the difference between an agent who sells 800 homes a year negotiating for you or an agent who sells 4 homes a year negotiating for you. In most cases, agents who are very desperate would have thrown their client under the bus in 2 seconds in that scenario. And so 2 minutes left really quick. Couple quick things, right? One thing to watch out for right now, there's a lot of wholesalers out there. They're out there just taking people's hard-earned equity. They're locking properties up under contract and not closing it. You see a lot of those We Buy Houses stuff. You see a lot of those signs and thing, a lot of investors online. We're seeing that. We're dealing with a lot of those issues. Most of them, almost all of them, are not licensed. They have the contract that have nuances in there that they can get out the contract at any point all the way up until closing. And what they do is they tie your property up at a very low price. And then they try to flip that contract to someone else, and they'll make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on it, and basically taking your hard-earned equity. And they never, here's the deal, if they don't find a buyer for it, what do you think they do? they back out last second, you're back to square one. I just saw one with a different investor company out here, had it listed. They had it under contract for 48,000. They call it ARV, right? Average pair value is about 200,000. And they were looking to get multiple offers and get the price up to 60 or 70,000. In essence, they would make 20 or 30,000, but it would cost a homeowner about $100,000 their hard equity. And so do not fall into that trap. Make sure you understand, use someone with a license, someone who's going to have your best interest at heart, and someone who has a reputation here with 800 plus 5-star reviews. We do have an investment fund that will buy it out if you want instant convenience, but most people just want to get the most amount of money. We perfected that system. We can help you get there. Reach out, call me so you can learn more. 843-808-SOLAR, BlakeSloan.com. I will see you back here next week at the same time.